What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex. I talk a lot of movies and on occasion video games on this channel. And today I'm going to be talking about the 10th installment in the Fast and Furious mainline saga, the 11th installment overall, and that is Fast X or Fast 10, or biggest missed opportunity was calling it FX for effects, or a bigger title that I like, Fast 10, your seatbelts. Over many missions and against impossible odds, Dom Toretto and his family have outsmarted, outnerved, and outdriven every foe in their path. Now they confront the most lethal opponent they've ever faced, a terrifying threat emerging from the shadows of the past who's fueled by blood revenge and who is determined to shatter his family and destroy everything and everyone that Dom loves forever. I've never been a huge fan of the Fast and Furious movies. Like, I've seen them all, for sure. But I was a late bloomer to this franchise, mostly because everybody in high school treated this series as if it was like the greatest thing ever made. There was not a single bad word from any high schooler that I knew about Fast and Furious. So I just stayed away from it for a while. The first four are a very mixed bag. The first one's okay. Second one, I think, is awful. Third one's not that good. Fourth one's eh. But it was really when Fast 5 came along that they took the series in a whole different direction. And Fast 5 still remains my favorite of the series. And Fast and Furious 6 is the second best of the series for me. 7 is where the cracks really started to show with what they're trying to do, and 8 just became too ridiculous, and 9, I'm pretty sure, is a comedy written and directed by Twitter and Reddit. Luckily, they toned it back a little bit with Fast X. That's not to say it's still stupid, dumb, ridiculous, shove popcorn in your face, grade B action movie fun, because it is, but nobody goes to space in this movie, luckily, but I mean, it's still as stupid and implausible and unrealistic, of course, as it should be, as you would expect. And when I go into a Fast and Furious movie, I'm not expecting there to be realism within the movies. I'm not expecting these to try and vie for Oscar spots or anything. I just want to be entertained for 2 to 2.5 hours, which is crazy that these movies run over 2.5 hours sometimes. I just want to be entertained and just have a big, dumb, goofy smile on my face. For Fate of the Furious and F9, that wasn't the case. It was more just like laughing at it for how bad it was, especially F9. I thought that was so bad, it was bad. The tables have turned in Fast X, where I think that this is probably, next to Fast 5 and Fast and Furious 6, one of the better ones in the franchise. Mostly because of Jason Momoa. Okay, this man showed up to play. He just acts cartoony circles around everybody. If there was the definition of a cartoony villain, it's Jason Momoa in this movie. Just look it up in the dictionary. His picture will be right there. This man is like painting toenails of dead corpses in one scene. He's just taking it all in. He's soaking up the sun in this movie. He is just having a grand old time. He's having a ball in every scene with Momoa in this movie. I never wanted to end because I could just tell that he was just bringing it. He knew exactly what a Fast and Furious villain should be, and he just was like, okay, I'm gonna tap in to a whole different level of crazy here, and I'm gonna do that, and nobody's gonna stop me. And luckily, nobody stopped him. Not even the powers of Vin Diesel could stop him. And speaking of silly stuff, I mean, Vin Diesel lifts a car with one hand in this movie. One hand, a bare hand at that. He lifts a fucking car with a hand. See, it brought it back to the over-the-top silliness 5 and 6 had. It never felt for an instance that we were going into parody territory, which is what I felt parts of 7 were doing, much of 8 was doing, and all of 9 was doing. They at least brought it back to a sense of like, okay, yeah, that still can't happen, and cars are flying everywhere and defying physics, but at least it was fun to watch again. And that's the biggest praise I have for this movie. I mean, the script is still ridiculous and stupid, and the dialogue sucks, of course. Nothing in this movie is getting points for of an Oscar. I mean, maybe visual effects. I mean, because the visual effects for these movies have always been good. Even the really shitty CGI sequences, But man, I kind of just want there to be like a parody Oscar show or something just so Momoa can win. Like he's that good in this movie. Like he's that cartoony. And I've seen the comparison that it's Momoa essentially as the Joker, like Heath Ledger's Joker in a Fast and Furious movie. I wouldn't go that far, but he is a weird psychotic man in this movie, and I loved every second of it. And he's gone for like a 45-minute period throughout the movie. I'm just like, this movie feels so much more hollow and empty without Momoa here. Any scene without Jason Momoa, I was just crying. I want Jason Momoa back. He's so good in this movie. There's references, of course, to all the other Fast and Furious movies. There's cameos galore in this movie. One in the mid-credit scene that's already been spoiled. I won't spoil it here in case you haven't seen it. There's also things that happen at the very end where I'm just like, no, no. And you're probably saying, well, you just said that this series doesn't rely on realism. I'm not talking from a realistic standpoint. I'm talking about the trajectory of the series and what it does with certain things. And I'm just not buying any of it. That's actually like a critical thing for me with this franchise is that things happen and they don't seem to stick in the series and everything just gets retconned. That happens again in this movie. I think my biggest issue is that they're just trying to make this such a big finale. It's supposed to be a two-part finale. We're supposed to get 11 next couple years. Now apparently it's a three-part finale, and they're just like, well, what was so successful that had a two-part finale? Oh yeah, the Avengers. Let's just do Infinity War, but with Fast and Furious and cars and giant explosions. But I mean, I can't help if I had a big, stupid, goddamn dopey smile on my face and I was having fun watching this giant ass ball that's a giant bomb running through the streets of Rome. That's where we're at with this series, guys. And that's the type of stuff that's much more fun than Roman and Tej going to fucking outer space in a car with a jet engine strapped to the top of the car, or turning nozzles in a car and making cars go flying backwards because there's like this electric magnetic pulse. Oh my god. Momoa really is the reason to watch this movie. If you want a really over-the-top, cartoony, Fast and Furious villain, it's Momoa as Dante Reyes. He's the big reason to watch this movie, and it brings back a lot of the stupid ridiculousness, the grade B action thrills that I expect from Fast and Furious at this point, and not any of the self-parodying stuff. Couple of moments where it does dive into that territory, but it doesn't weigh the movie down like it did with 8 and 9. I will say I enjoyed Fast X with 3/4 of a bucket of popcorn. I think it's the third best Fast and Furious movie. Saying the best is like a big overstatement because none of these movies are good, honestly. They're like bad, good movies, but just movies that are just mindless fun. At least some of them are. And that's how I felt with Fast X. It felt like we were back to the mindless fun of it all. And Momoa just brought it as the most cartoony villain we've had so far in this series. So if you have seen Fast X, rank all the Fast and Furious movies. And if you have seen it, I want to know what you think about it as well. Drop me some feedback in the comments section below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.